Whitelist Homestead and day 19 of the Three Rivers Challenge. I'm just going to take a second to introduce myself quickly because I have a lot of new subscribers, so welcome. As I said, my name is Lynn and I live in Eastern Ontario, Canada with my husband David of 30 years and our daughter Grace and our son Aiden. We are a military family. My husband did 30 years in the full-time service in the Canadian military, and the last almost 3 years he retired from full-time military and he's gone into the reservist unit for the last few years, so we are still military. I'm originally from Maine in the United States and my husband's originally from New Brunswick. The military sent us here in Ontario, and once our youngest, who is in grade 12 next year, graduates, we most likely will be moving this homestead back down to New Brunswick. Also a Tourette's family. Our youngest son, Aiden, who is 16, our only son, our youngest, our son, Aiden, who is 16, has Tourette's syndrome and some ADD. And our daughter, Grace, is autistic. I know they don't say it anymore, but she's high functioning autistic. I know they don't usually say that anymore, but we're old school, so that's what we say. And we came into homesteading. We kind of were always homesteading, even in military housing, and we lived in military housing for 20 years before we bought our own home 10 years ago. And I always had a small garden, whatever I could, in the military housing, and I grew a lot of tomatoes in plant pots, and I shopped the farmers markets, and I canned, and we, did all that. But in 2013 or 2012, late 2012, I was diagnosed for the first time with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer T-cell. Very rare form. Only 10% of people who get non-Hodgkin's lymphoma get that kind. I was one of the lucky ones. I am one of the lucky ones. I beat it. And during my first chemo session, my husband and I said, you know what? Wow, life is definitely too short. We had lived in military housing at that point, like I said, for 20 years, and it was just not for us. Very close quarters, no privacy, and no room so we made a list. What do we want out of life for when I am better? My husband never let me say if, it was always when I was better. At the very top of that bucket list was our own home with enough property to at least do some kind of gardening, maybe have some apple trees, room for our children to grow. They were still fairly young then. I wanted chickens very badly. I wanted a big garden. And our dreams came true 10 years ago when we found this piece of property. We're on 3 acres. I will say we do not use a good majority of it because most of our acreage down back is quite a ways from the house, and the soil's not great down there, and the former owners didn't really take care of it, and we were going to put a lot more into that the last couple of years, but we have since decided we will not be staying here. But we're learning everything we can so we can homestead even bigger when we move. We do have chickens. I do grow a very large garden. We have planted some apple trees. There were 2 on the property when we moved in. I have a huge herb garden. But yeah, we want more. I actually want to start having roosters, which I can't because we do have neighbors, and I don't want anyone calling the town on us about a noisy rooster. But it'll be nice to be able to grow my own chicks and not have to buy them anymore. And I have plans to kind of try some new breeds. And yeah, so we hope that's we pray. We have 2 plans. We have a 2-year plan and a 5-year plan. So, and that is pretty much us in a nutshell. I will say I have battled cancer 4 times total, and I am here, and I am a survivor. And I have a great supportive family who supports my crazy dream of having a YouTube channel, which I never imagined in a million years I would do, and I have come to love it, and I love commenting and talking with all of you, and I try to put out 3 videos a week, sometimes more, and I do try to go live every Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern. So if you have a chance to check out my lives, come on and check it out. And that is it. So for all of you who've been here before, you've already heard that song and dance, but for the new people, I just thought I'd take a quick chance and a quick second rather, and tell you all that. So we have a busy day 19 here for Three Rivers Challenge. We're gonna make yogurt. We're gonna finally make yogurt. I've never made it before. I actually bought an Instapot several years ago to make yogurt, and I've never used it for that. So we're gonna try in the Instapot. I did pick up a yogurt making appliance, I guess you could say, at a thrift store a couple of years ago, last year. I guess it's only been about over a year, that I will try eventually, but for now, the easiest way, from everything I've read, everything I've been told, is in the Instapot. I forgot to mention, we also have 2 dogs, a pug named Puggy and a dachshund named Lily, which that's who you're hearing clicking around right now. Their nails need to be done again. Yeah, so everything I've read and researched, been told, to do yogurt in the Instapot is the easiest way, so that's what we're gonna do. And you don't need a lot. You only need, I'm gonna use already made yogurt. I saved some from my yogurt. It's another reason I gotta get going on this before that expires. To help another batch, you can certainly buy yogurt starter, but it's expensive here. Like, very, very expensive here. I'm hoping to find a better source of it, because it's expensive. Like, I think it was like $38, the couple places I'm finding it, for a little itty bitty packet. That's a lot of money. So, you know, I figure, I know you can only use, they only recommend using your store-bought yogurt no more than 3 times, like when you make yogurt and you save it, not to save it more than 3 times. So even if I have to buy a little bit of yogurt every so often, it's still cheaper than buying that starter. So you are gonna need a gallon of milk. Here in Canada, at least in our part of Canada, this is how our milk comes. And from what I understand, it was mainly due to the metric system. It was, they switched from gallon jugs to the metric system in the 70s, I believe, is when Canada switched to the metric system. I grew up in the States, so we didn't have the metric system. And it was easier to convert the milk into these bags for liters. So you get 4 liters, and they each come in one of these bags. And there's 3 bags, and these are gonna equal a gallon. It's a little over a gallon, so I hope that's not gonna make a big difference. I don't think it will. I also should mention I'm going to be making this as Greek yogurt. So this is gonna be an all-day process today and into tomorrow, because I'm going to let it strain in the refrigerator for as long as possible to get nice, thick, creamy Greek yogurt. But we can't do anything until we start.
Ooh, hot chocolate. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button.
Hey, who took my hot chocolate?
Make sure you hit the bell so that you don't miss any new videos. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button.
Okay, so this is my Instapot. My Instapot does have a yogurt button. I guess some don't, but mine does. So we are gonna put all this milk into the Instapot. Okay, so all our milk is in the Instapot, minus a few spills. And I will share the link to this recipe with the rest of my recipes that I've been sharing with you all during the challenge. So we want to turn on yogurt function, okay? Press adjust button until boil displays. Close and lock the lid. Oops. Hold on, I know. Okay, lid is locked. Set timer for 45 minutes. Okay. And we need the milk to reach 185 degrees Fahrenheit or 85 degrees Celsius. So that's gonna take a while, so we're just gonna let that do its thing. And the difference with this is, instead of counting down like it normally does when you use the Instapot, you can see here it's saying 0, it counts up. So, okay, so that's one of the things we're getting done today. Okay, so it is Friday, and that's pizza day for here. Now, some of you may know that in my house, at least, I am famous for my pizza, and I usually almost make it the same, but I thought I'd take a risk, I know, change it up today, and I'm actually gonna make French bread pizzas, so that way David can have his own topping and I can have my own topping, because I wanna use some of my long keeper tomatoes that I've been storing. And I love tomatoes on top of my pizza. David does not. So this way we can have our own, but first I have to make French bread. and I'm making 2 small French bread loaves. And obviously this is gonna be more than we need, but my plan is to freeze the rest of them. So in my KitchenAid mixer here, I have my dough hook attachment on, and in this bowl I have 4.5 cups of bread flour, 2 teaspoons of salt. I hope I put 2, I'm pretty sure I did 2. 2 tablespoons of honey, a tablespoon of olive oil, 12 fluid ounces of warm water, and 1 teaspoon of dry yeast. And I'm following the recipe. It said just to sprinkle the yeast on top of all that and let it dissolve. So we're gonna wait a couple of minutes until it starts dissolving, and then we'll move on to step 2. Okay, the yeast has dissolved, so we are going to let this go for 10 minutes, mixing on low. Okay, so we're done kneading it, and it does seem like a nice dough. I was a little concerned about putting the yeast the way it told me to, because that's not how I typically make my pizza or bread doughs, but we're gonna go with it, and it looks nice. I will say I added about another 1/4 cup of warm water because it was just not, it was too dry, but my house is very dry. So you might need to add a little bit more water. So now we're just gonna cover this with plastic wrap and let this go until about double, depending on how warm your house is. And it's very, very cool here today, so the heat is on. And our house, I mean, it's on all winter, but it's up a little bit higher today than normal. So it should be nice and warm in here, and we'll come back in an hour and do step 3. Okay, so I'm gonna check the temperature of our milk mixture. I'm looking for 185. And we're about 20 degrees shy. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Okay, so I've heated this up again, and I wanna take that off to make sure we don't get any water condensation from the pot. I feel like we're, okay. We're gonna try this again. It definitely feels hotter. But it is not. It is not hotter. Okay, I gotta do some investigating and see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, I started it over again. It's over 20 something degrees, still too cold. It has not reached the boiling 185 that it needs to kill off all the bad bacteria. So I'm gonna let it go through again. I really hope I have not ruined this, because this is a lot of milk to throw out. So we're gonna let it go, and I'm gonna have to try and catch it as soon as it's done, because I feel like it might cool off too quick. I don't know, I need to make sure it at least reaches 185, because then we have to cool it down, but I need to make sure it reaches the 185 first. So this was supposed to be easy, friends, and it's not very easy. Okay. While the yogurt does its thing again, we're going to move on to step 4. I think I said step 3. I can't remember. Step 3 was actually letting it rise for until it was double. It did take a little more than an hour for me, more like closer to 2. Okay. And it wants me to knead it 4 to 5 times. Oh, that feels lovely. 2, 3, 4, 5. Cover it with plastic wrap right here and let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, I let it rest for 10 minutes. I weighed them because this makes 2. So I wanted to make sure I got them equal. And now I'm gonna try and shape them into French breads. And then we put these on a cookie sheet, and we're gonna let them rise for another hour. Well, it said 183 a second ago. We are, 183. So I'm gonna turn this off. And we need to let this cool down. I'm gonna take it out of here actually and set it on a hot pad. And it needs to come down to, I think it was 110 degrees. Okay, so these have been rising for an hour. And it says to brush them with some olive oil. I'm just gonna give them a little spray. Sharp knife. It says to make a little slit down the center. Finish off with a little sprinkling of salt. 400 degree oven for 18 to 20 minutes. Our milk is at exactly 110 degrees. So now we're going to take a cup of this. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the bigger one here. And 2 tablespoons of plain Greek yogurt. 2. Stir that up. Okay, and then we take I'm going to pour it back into the big mixture. Give it a good stir. Now we have to put this back in the Instapot. Okay, it's back in here. So now we're going to reselect yogurt. Close and lock the lid. Okay. Okay, so my timer is on 9 minutes, which you probably can't see. Okay, because it's going to count up. It doesn't count down like you do when you're cooking. And that's it. And so we won't actually see or taste this until Sunday, but at least we've started it. And there is our French bread. And I'm pretty sure it's done. I did take the temperature and it was the right temperature. It just feels a little soft, but it's French bread. So definitely we'll let them cool. It's hours till supper anyway, but now they're done. I'll let them cool completely and we will make pizzas for those for supper tonight. I can't wait for David to try these. Oh, it's time to make pizzas. And I just wanted to show, so I chopped up some orange peppers. And these are the long keeper tomatoes that I have been preserving since I picked these in August. And so far, this one is fine. It wasn't germinating its seeds. It's not, so far I think I've had to throw away 5 out of the ones I got, so not too bad. I'm gonna taste one here in just a second. It's crazy to think I picked a tomato in August, and here it is mid-Jan, and I'm gonna eat one. We're gonna try it. That's really good. I can't believe I picked these in August. Okay. We have fresh tomatoes for our pizza tonight without going to the store. I just wanted to give you all a quick update. I meant to do this on my last video. I apologize. I'm sorry. I forgot. But I wanted to give you an update on the let pot. My lettuce, friends, we absolutely can start eating this anytime now. Like, it is definitely growing. 3 of these are from seeds that I started in the let pot, and 2 of them are from live lettuces that we bought. And of course, the tomatoes are truggling along. And I don't see any flowers on them yet. They're still a little too small, but they're definitely, I swear they grow daily. So I love this Let Pot system. I highly recommend it, and I'll leave a link down below for it on Amazon for you. And this is wonderful. Like, I can't wait. I might even do a few starts for my garden for spring in this year too. So these make a lot, and I will be freezing the other two, so we'll have a whole French bread pizza each in the freezer. But I cut mine into 4 because it's gonna be hard to eat. The French breads were bigger than I thought they were gonna be. Yeah. I mean, it's pizza. It's a nice little change.
Good stuff.
And I get to have my toppings, and he can have his toppings.
Yeah.
That's good. The recipe will be down in the new link. Day 20 of Three Rivers Challenge. And we're just gonna be doing, it's Saturday, so we are cleaning out the fridge. Though I did make another Dutch baby for breakfast this morning because they're so fast and they are good. So we got that. We had that for breakfast, and for lunch we got a sandwich while we were out and about running some errands because David received gift cards from his friends at work. And so we didn't use any money, and we did because we ended up being out a lot longer. So we did not spend 1 cent of our own money on lunch. I got a sandwich and he got a wrap. So that was lunch today. Supper tonight is gonna be the rest of that chicken cobbler, and I am telling you, that has probably been the tastiest thing I have made so far. Dave and I actually talked about it like several times the next day. Like, it was delicious, and we have enough for each of us to have a serving tonight. And whatever else, I don't think there's a lot left in there from this week, but we'll see. It'll just be cleaning out the fridge and stuff. So, so I won't bore you with showing you that again, but I do want to show you last night, late, if I have to make this when I make this yogurt again, I should say, I'll make sure that when it has to sit for 9 hours, it's 9 hours as we're going to bed. Not 9 hours middle of the day or later in the afternoon, and it's still like 3 hours to go when you're exhausted type of thing. But you can let it go 24 hours. It'll just be tangier the longer it ferments, but nothing more than 24, because then you're not going to get the healthy bacteria. But so in my pajamas right before we went to bed last night, I strained it all. I got a big stock pot, a strainer, and some cheesecloth because like I said, I want to make this Greek yogurt. So I want to have all the whey drained out of it, and then I put it in the fridge for the night. And now I've taken it out of the fridge, and it looks like yogurt. Coughing, it's just poor Aiden. Aiden's caught the bug that's been going around school. He started feeling not so great yesterday morning. So anyway, here is the yogurt, and it looks like yogurt. Look how thick that is. So a lot of the whey has come out. I'm just gonna set this here, and look at all that. That is a lot. There's at least 2 cups, maybe even 4 cups of whey. Can you see that? That has drained out of the yogurt. So I have containers here, and we're gonna scoop it. Oh, look at that. I can't believe I made yogurt. I'm gonna put them in these, and then we will taste it and see what it tastes like. So I got a lot. I have 2 of these containers full and 1 of the taller containers. So this is my breakfast for all next week. And we are gonna try some. I have some on here, so let's see what it tastes like. Of course, it's gonna be sour because it's plain. My favorite way to flavor plain yogurt is just to add some of my homemade low sugar jam. But the best way to taste this, I guess, is plain. So we're gonna try some. I think I made sour cream. I don't know if I let it ferment long enough. It's not as tangy as yogurt usually is. I'm thinking I should have let it ferment longer. All right, I added some blueberry jam to some of the, what I think is sour cream. It's good, it's just not yogurt. Well, I made a lot of sour cream that I'm probably gonna have to freeze because we will not go through this much sour cream in 2 weeks. Or, actually, it's pretty good. I think I'm gonna eat it as yogurt. Well, plain Greek yogurt is sour cream. And when I make it again next week, we will definitely let it ferment longer. It wasn't hard to make, it's just trying to figure out the buttons on the Instapot for yogurt, and it seemed to take forever, and I kept getting nervous because I'm like, is this even on? Because it wasn't really hot. But anyway, it wasn't easy, and I think now that I've done it the first time, I know better for the second time. It's good. It's just not really tangy yogurt, but that's okay. We'll still eat it, or I'll still eat it. And I'll have breakfast for all next week. So thanks for coming along for day 19 and 20 for 3 Rivers Challenge. We'll see you back here tomorrow for day 21. Until then, take care, God bless, and we'll see you all soon.